You can see that already with the base one, we have a decent auto-completion, some refactoring that we can use while we're coding. And of course, if we, for example, create a controller, let's suppose that we ask here to create a controller for managing a course CRUD. So here it lost context, okay? It's creating everything in Python, which it doesn't make any sense. So I let him know that I was asking related to the course project, and now you can see that it created the course controller, okay? So we have all of the methods here, and let's ask also create the controllers file. So you can see here that it's going to insert this code at the cursor position in the file courses app HTTP controllers course controller. Okay, if the file doesn't exist, I will create it. Okay, I'm gonna say go. Okay, it says that the file was created. Let me take a look here inside the courses app HTTP. I don't see any controller here. So the file wasn't created. So as you can see, it doesn't have the capability with the free version to create the file, so we have to create it on our own. So I'm gonna touch course.php, and then we can insert the code inside. Let's just click insert, and we have the course. We have to insert the PHP tag. Okay, let's give it a try. Let's just run PHP artisan serve, and then we have to add, we're gonna ask, please add a route to web.php for managing courses. So you can see here that it created the code, so we should open the file routes web.php, and let's just insert that piece of code. Okay, let's bring the use command up, and you can see that we have the route here. Okay, now let's open the web page and let's add the route courses. So course index is not found. Let's take a look. So we can give, so the view isn't found. I'm going to copy and paste this error into the chat. I hope it suggests that we should create the view. And right, you can see that based on the error, it suggested to create the view. So we're going to go to views, courses. Let's copy this piece of code here to create the file. We're going to right click on resources, create new file, and we're going to paste the file's URL, and then we're going to click on insert. So we have our view. Let's reload the page now, and of course we have the page here. We don't have any course, but no problem, we can do it with PhpStorm. Let's go back to the editor. Let's remove this comment here, and now let's create a course. We can do it with Laravel Tinker. And if you go to database, you can see here the database SQLite. We can just double click on the file name, and PhpStorm automatically open the SQL editor for us. Let's just click apply, and then you can see here the database main. We have the tables, we have the courses, and you can see that the columns, we have the title, description, category ID, and let's open the chat again, and let's ask for the category controller. Let's create now the category controller for category, and in the meantime we're going to create the file here under controllers, and class category. All right, and now let's insert the code. Let's click on insert, and we have the code for CategoryController. Let's see if there is any code for the view. So you can see that it says, please know that you have to create the category index.blade file and categories create.blade.php. So no problem. What we want to do here with CategoryController is create a new category. So we have to map also in routes also the category resource. So let's suggest here with Command I, add a resource route to manage categories. All right, it was created. Command Enter, and then we can import the namespace. All right, we have category. Now we can create a category. We can use PhpStorm to do that by opening Scratches and Console here, then Scratches, and we can just right click, new, and let's call the file categories HTTP. So in that way, we can create a post request to categories in order to create a category. Let's see if we have code completion also for this kind of file. I'm going to press Command I, and I'm going to say create a post request HTTP localhost 8000/categories to create a category by passing name and description. Command Enter, and you can see it was created, guys. We have the post request, we have the content type application JSON, and let's execute it by clicking play. All right, you can see here that it doesn't work. Why? Because we added the route to the web.php. We should add the route to the API route. Otherwise, we should insert the token, the cross-site request forgery token. So let's open the routes and let's create a file API.php. Let's copy that command here into the API file, and we need to register this API in the app provider, app services provider. Or let me see, not here, but in the Bootstrap. If we go to providers, we can add a new provider here, or we can go to app.php, and then you can see with routing web commands, and I think we can use API here, API, and then dir routes API. All right, now the call should be to API/category. Let's give it a try again. Okay, we have an error here, and we can click on the eye icon to see the preview, show preview. On the image icon here, you can see no such table categories. Okay, insert into categories. Okay, maybe because we didn't create the category migration. Let's ask Codeium to create the category migration for us. Create the category. In the meantime, we're gonna create the file with the script PHP, but we have to be inside the courses folder, and then we can execute the command, or we can ask generate, always generate artisan command when needed. Okay, so you can see here that we have the artisan command. We can copy it, we can paste it here. We have the migration. Let's open it, and let's select all of the code to be replaced by the migration that was created here. So we just click on insert, and we have the migration here. So let's run PHP artisan migrate, and if we take a look at the database, we can just click on tables and click on refresh, and you can see that we have now the category table. Let's go back to the categories HTTP and let's make the Postman call. Okay, let's click on the picture icon to see what the error is. And so searching for category index, let's take a look at the controller here. We can always verify with PHP artisan route semicolon list the routes that we have. Okay, so here we have that for category we can post to categories. Okay, and it should call the category controller. Let's see what do we have for API. So we have to post to API/category, and that's what we had. Let's take a look, and we're pointing to API categories. That's okay. So the method is post. It should be all right. Okay, let's take a look at the method store. All right, you can see the problem in here because we didn't create an API controller, but we created an ordinary controller, and there is a redirect here. So we can just return the category just to verify that it works. And if we take a look at the database and select all of the records, you can see that we were able to insert those records. Now, if we go back to the categories PHP file and we make a get request, and we can separate the request with three pounds, we can make a get request instead of a post to get the category list. And we should modify also the controller to return the categories here so that we can see the JSON response. So let's go back to the categories.http and let's make a get request to categories. Let's separate the requests here. Okay, we already had the get request here, and you can see here the list. As you can see, it worked, and of course we can ask so many other things. We can ask to create some other views, some other controllers, but you get the idea. You can see that it's pretty handy to have this AI assistant for creating some code for auto-completion. Also, give it a try to create, for example, the test for the controller. For example, if we go back to the chat, we can ask create unit test for the category controller. So we should create the category controller test here inside the tests unit, and then we can insert the code here. You can see that there is the test for the factory to create some records, to get the response for index, assert that the response is 200, and here we have to change because we're now returning a view. We can say assert. We can assert that we have a JSON structure, and then we can verify the structure and we can comment out the response. And we saw that the structure was, or we can pass a function here if we just want to verify part of the response, and this function would receive assertable. Okay, let's try out this one. Okay, let's ask verify that the get request a JSON with the category structure. Okay, you can see here that it completed what we should have written. So we can just copy this piece here, or just let's remove the whole file and insert just this assertion. Let's ask to regenerate whole test with only the get request. Okay, and then we can run this test directly here from PhpStorm. We can click here, run CategoryController unit test, and we have to configure PHP unit. So we have to configure PHP unit for PhpStorm, and we can choose the PHP unit XML from the Laravel project in courses. Then the script is inside vendor, so we have to go to vendor, PHP unit, vendor bin, and then we should have PHP unit here. Okay, so we should be all right. Okay, let's give it a try now. So you can see that we have an error here because this method is not present in the PHP unit test. Let's give it to Codeium. Let's see if it is able to solve it. So you can see here that the error is due to the factory function being deprecated in Laravel 8.x. Instead, you can use the has factory trait in your model. Okay, so let's replace our code with the updated unit test. Let's insert it and let's run it again. Okay, let's give it the other error. Let's see if it is able to fix this. So you can see that it deducted that we didn't have the category factory. We didn't create the migration with the factory. So you can see here that we can create the factories under database factory. So let's go under database factories and let's create the category factory. Let's create class, category factory, and then we can insert the code. All right, let's give it a try again. Okay, tests pass, but they say, okay, but there were issues. Test 1, assertion 17, PHP unit deprecation 1. Let's see which one. So the deprecation here is the annotation test. Let's give it to the AI. I don't know why it's generating deprecated test. Okay, say compose. It seems that the test suite ran successfully, but there were some issues. The issues are related to PHP unit deprecation. PHP unit deprecation are warnings that indicate that certain features or methods are no longer recommended and will be removed. So you can see here that in reality is that we don't use comments anymore, but attributes. So we can replace with attributes. Okay, because that's something that we can do with PHP 8. So we can run it again and we have green. Okay, guys, you can see that we can have some feedback from the AI assistant. Of course, this is the free version. We don't have the latest LLM. As you can see here from base model, we have the free version, but we could use, for example, Claude 3.5 that is more accurate, or GPT-4, and we would have had a better code completion and a better feedback here from the chat. But anyway, it was a great help for us to create the unit test, to create the controllers, models. You can see that it really saves a lot of coding time for us. So I hope you liked this lesson, and I hope you take advantage of this AI assistant in your projects, and see you soon in our next lesson. Bye.